Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Game On, the home game. This one actually is my home. The last couple of videos we've shot have been at Justin's at the fancy new backdrop studio setup that we have over there. You may have seen the video where we built the bookshelf that goes in the background, and we've shot at least one other video, so assuming these go in chronological order, you may see this video after the first two that we shot in that new setup, and Justin may have shot a solo one there by that point too. But the video that we shot together was one where he showed off a board game that he picked up at a semi-local gaming shop that we made a pilgrimage to a week or two ago. And we both picked up a bunch of cool stuff, and we figured we would make a few videos just kind of showing off what we got. The board game that he got and the thing that I'm going to show you today both came from the bargain used games section in this store, which is just about my favorites and first stop that I go to when I enter any new gaming store for the first time. Check out what they have in the bargain section. The reason being, not just because I'm cheap, but because a lot of times you can find some cool, obscure games, maybe some out-of-print stuff that you either don't know a whole lot about, or you know from back in the old days if you're long in the tooth like I am, and you haven't seen it in a while, but you can sometimes find some really interesting finds if you're sort of a game archaeologist like I am. And so the thing that I'm going to show you today is a bundle of 3 books that they packaged together for a system that I've spoken about before that goes back a bunch of years, in fact, and in some ways is kind of antiquated or even obsolete by today's standards. The system is called Twilight 2000, and the premise, in a nutshell, if you haven't seen those previous videos, is sort of a post-apocalyptic, post-World War III scavenger military game. And it's unique in that it sort of was an offshoot of the Cold War era stuff, with a storyline that the Cold War ended up resulting in what everybody was afraid it was going to, which was World War III, with some sort of limited or perhaps not quite so limited nuclear exchange that collapsed society and left everyone, scrambling for survival and fighting against other settlements and military units and so forth. Well, you know the premise. But of course it was Twilight 2000, with the premise being that all happened in the early 21st century. So yeah, now it's kind of like an alternate history type game, because we've surpassed the era in which that, at the time, future timeline would have taken place. That's okay, still a cool system. You can either run it as an alternate history kind of thing, or you can port it forward a couple of decades so it's still relevant in the near future. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't really affect the game mechanics or the resources. So I'm going to show you one that I picked up. The package that I picked up here has 3 books bundled into it, and so I actually don't know what all is included in this set, which is kind of fun, but the price was right, so I don't mind taking a bit of a gamble on it and seeing what beyond this City of Angels sourcebook might be in here. So I'm just gonna slice open the shrink wrap here. So it turns out I can't do it one-handed very effectively, so I did a little jump cut here. So I've already sliced the second seam of the cellophane so we can see what we got here. City of Angels, cardboard backer, Free City of Krakow, and Return to Warsaw. So each of these 3 books is a city source book for Twilight 2000, and I guess the offshoot Merc 2000, which is same system, slightly different sort of storyline background stuff. So the 2 European books, they are at different stages in the game, as I mentioned, but they are structurally much more traditional Twilight 2000. It's kind of militaristic. You're liberating a city or helping freedom fighters, that kind of thing, which is very much the main theme of the game throughout various modules and the main rules. The City of Angels book is obviously Los Angeles, and that has more of a, I don't know, other types of post-apocalyptic feel to it, because there's gangs and things like that. So the vibe is slightly different than the European front stuff, but still pretty interesting. The books have a lot of maps and sort of traditional sourcebook material. The system for Twilight 2000 was always designed to be very realistic with regard to military stuff, and as a result, it's a pretty lethal system. So, you know, the realism factor can be very much fun, but it can be a little bit of a shock to the system for people who are used to being able to do sort of outlandish combat things and survive pretty much anything that opponents might throw at you. Not the case with Twilight 2000. I haven't really gone through the books in that much detail, so I don't know what's in them beyond that sort of cursory flip. And honestly, maybe that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try and diagnose these or diagram these books in detail for you guys, when the premise is really just find cool stuff at the bargain bin section in your local gaming store and, you know, take a flyer on something and hope to find some buried treasure in those bins, because they're out there. They're still out there. And again, if you're a fan of the old stuff like I am, and you want to blast from the past nostalgia wise, or you just want to find an older game that you weren't around for to enjoy the first time around, that's a great way to do it. Justin and I got more than just these things during that trip, and I think we'll be rolling out and showing you some of the other stuff that we picked out in coming videos. If you'd like to hear more about Twilight 2000 and the GDW systems, there's some sister books and game systems that all run on the same rules. I'm certainly happy to do that. You know, let me know in the comments, and we can revisit some of this stuff. Until then, let's see what comes up next. I think Justin's got a stack of things that he wants to show you, and maybe he'll do a solo video or 2 talking about some of those in the meantime. But until next time, guys, game on. Thanks for watching, and you know, like and share and comment and all that good stuff down at the bottom, and let us know what you think.